In today's video, I want to share with you a recent lesson I had with Raphael. This was an incredible lesson. We made some massive swing changes. Just look at the differences here between these two swings. He started to hit it straighter, further, more consistently and more solid. And I'm going to share with you just how we did that. It's really simple. You can follow these steps. And all we did was we got him to move his body better. We didn't even touch the golf club, but we've got so many things happening at impact which helped him with his golf. Now, before we get into that, I want to share with you a little story. This really shaped the way I coach, and it might change the way you think about your golf swing. And we certainly did this with Raphael to help him make these swing changes. And actually, we did it in a relatively short space of time. I was doing a conference, and I was asked on a piece of paper to draw Big Ben. So I attempted to draw it. It was pretty terrible, didn't look great. We were then asked to turn our paper over and draw Big Ben again. But this time at the front of the room on a projector, a big picture of Big Ben appeared. So what did I do and everyone in the room do? Well, we looked at it and we copied it. And whose second picture was better than the first picture? Everybody. Why? Because we had a really clear image of what we were trying to do and we copied it. The same thing applies in your golf swing. You've got to have that clear image of what you're trying to do. So if you know that your golf club is coming across the ball from out to win, and you want to change that, it's not good enough. You haven't got that really clear concept. You haven't got that really deep understanding of what you're trying to do in order to change it. In this lesson, I'm going to give you those concepts. I'm going to give you those visuals, those feels that are going to help you swing the club better. It's exactly what we did with Raphael. It's how we got those incredible swing changes in a relatively short space of time. So for Raphael, he was struggling with his irons because of the way he moved his body. He didn't move his body well enough. So that's what I'm going to share with you today and show you how we did it. Now, when we changed how his body moved, we completely changed the shape of his golf swing. And that would have made him far worse as a golfer unless we did one really key thing, which you'll see at the end of the lesson. So first of all, everybody's body has got the same three movements available to us. And in a golf swing, we use all of those three, and how we blend them gives us the kind of shape of golf swing. What are the three movements that we have? Well, we all have rotation away from the target and rotation towards the target. I'm sure you're all happy that we have that in the golf swing. But you also have this movement, which we're going to call forward bend, and this movement, which is the opposite. And the third movement is we have the ability to tip over to one side or tip over to the other side. Now, when I take an address to the golf ball, when I take a setup, what have I got? Well, effectively, all we've really got is a little bit of forward bend. We tip over to the golf ball. Now, maybe my trail shoulder's a little bit lower, so we maybe have a little bit of this tilt. But for the purpose of this video, we'll say we've just got forward bend. That's our setup. Here's the important part. What have we got at the end of our backswing? Well, let's show you. Let's take our setup, and I'd love you to do this with me. Stand up out your chair, wherever you're watching this. Stand up normally. Okay, clearly I've not got any of that forward bend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my normal position. I'm going to rotate my shoulders through, let's say, around about 90 degrees, where the club shaft kind of points back to you now. So there's rotation. And then I'm going to tilt or bend over to my lead side. So that would look like this. And does that look like the top of a backswing? Hopefully you're answering yes to that question. And if I put my hands in there, you'd say that that looks like the top of a backswing. So, confusing, because at setup, we've basically just got one thing. We've got forward bend. At the top of our backswing, we've got rotation and we've got tilt to our left, but we don't have that forward bend. So that's the key in the backswing. You have to go from a position where you've got forward bend and you have to remove that and replace it with those two. That's why the backswing is so difficult, because it's a blend of those movements. And so many of you who are going to see your head lifting or drifting or dropping, it's because you're not blending those movements correctly. So watch what happens if I tried to keep this forward bend for too long. As I turn and I keep my forward bend, look at that. That's not where I want to be at the top. That's going to make it very, very difficult to hit golf shots. What was Raphael doing? Well, he was actually taking this forward bend and he was actually going to this movement. Okay, so if I show you what that looks like, it's like this. And that was what was causing his backswing, where he got his arms really high, his body was in this position, and look what happens if I start to turn from here. The golf club comes way on the outside and comes across the golf ball. So his golf club was moving across the golf ball in an inefficient way because of what his body was doing. If I could get his body to move better, if I can get your body to move better, and you may well be not making the right movement, it's going to compromise your impact. So the first drill you're going to do is that one that we just did, but with a golf club. You're going to take a setup. You're going to stand up in this position here, put the club in here, okay, and all I'm going to ask you to do is rotate. Now, if you rotate from there, you're never going to do this. You're never going to do this. You're just going to stay nice and centered, and you're going to make a rotation through about 90 degrees. Then from there, you're going to take your lead shoulder and you're going to tip it over towards the golf ball. Put your hand up to the top and look at that, you've got an absolutely perfect top of the backswing position. That is me revealing Big Ben. That's me showing you exactly where you should be. And think about that analogy I used at the start. If I'm taking the golfer from setup and I'm saying, I want you to make a better movement with the body, part of that golfer is going, great, but I don't know what that right movement is. I've never experienced it. I don't know what to kind of latch onto. This little drill allows you to go potentially for the very first time, that's where I should be at the top. That's how my body should feel. That's how my body should be positioned. Because now from setup, if I said to you, make the right movement, guess what? Now you've got something you can work towards. You've got a position that you can try and find. And that's why it's so important that we reveal this Big Ben. So I'm going to try and hit a shot now. Now this is not going to be a great strike. It's not going to be at full speed, but it's going to help me figure out, actually it wasn't too bad. It's going to help me figure out where it needs to be. That's the first drill. That's how we worked with Raphael. You can see me here. I was doing it physically with him because he was there in a live lesson, but I was physically helping him move into those positions. You can see me doing that here. Your job is to get the grip end, the club head end, what you feel is over your right knee. Okay, and if you look in the mirror, okay, if you do that and look in the mirror, there we go. Now look at the difference in your angle. So your body now is tipped this way, whereas as soon as this goes this way, you've got a completely different sort of angle. Go again. Beautiful, there you go. There you go. So here's another great drill that you can do to really feel and sense how the body works. I love this drill because it's something you can do at home. So I'm actually going to go into the academy where my studio is and show you what that drill is. So for this, you're going to need a couple of alignment sticks. One is going to go on the floor, just inside your tray of heel. You're going to need a wall, and you're going to need something like a ball or something equivalent. So if I took a setup here, and I want to take this ball and I want to place it simply between the wall and my lead thigh, as you can see there. Now as I take a setup, I'm going to place this across my shoulders. Very, very simply, what I would love you to do is make some rotations where this end of the alignment stick feels like it ends up above this one, and you keep the ball in place. So let me show you what that would look like. Okay, and you can see how it gives me almost that perfect kind of body rotation. Okay, I'm keeping that ball in place. Now, if we look at what Raphael was doing, he was tending to sort of slide this way, and obviously he would have dropped that ball. So with a pretty simple setup, you know, just a wall, a couple of alignment sticks and a ball, you can create a little station which allows you to kind of work into the right body position. Now, the really key message here, and I can't stress this enough, this drill here, standing against this wall, doing that for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes a day will not change your golf swing. That's not what this drill is for, because there's no speed, there's no force, there's no golf club, there's no ball flight. It's not a golf swing. What it's doing is it's giving you that clear picture of Big Ben. It's allowing you to stand there, make those movements and go, that's what the backswing should feel like. That's how my body should move. And for many of you, that will be the first time you've ever had that clear concept, visual feel of what the correct movement is like. What's happened is your Big Ben has been revealed. So what you're able to do now is go and actually perform the right kind of movement, and you've got a much better chance of getting into the right position because you've just done this exercise. Once you've done this exercise, what's going to change your golf swing? You're going to change your golf swing. This won't do it for you. It just helps you along that process. So now you've got 2 really simple exercises to help you move the body better. Now, I said right at the start, there was one thing that we did with Raphael which made him hit it better. Without this thing, he would have really, really struggled. If I swing severely out to the right of my target, my club will land really early. Yeah. If I swing massively to the left of my target, my club will land much later. Yeah. So if you are someone who swings over the top and left, your club tends to land later. So where would you ultimately start playing the golf ball from? Well, where the club lands.
There's the answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you play the ball forward, it actually helps you in strike it. But the key thing would be, if we try and change the swing, you have to move the ball. Yeah. Because if we try and change the swing, and we get this perfect swing where the club lands here, and you've still got the ball forward, you're suddenly going to have a better golf swing, and you're going to suddenly go, well, that was terrible, Chris, because I fatted it. Yeah. And it's like, because if we change the swing, the ball has to kind of move. What you can see from this video and that lesson with Raphael is that just a couple of relatively simple drills, a couple of really clear concepts, and a little change in ball position, and there was a dramatic change in his golf swing. And it just shows you how big changes, improvements in ball flight and strike and distance are all achievable if you follow the right steps, if you do the right things, and if you kind of have a decent understanding about how all these pieces work together. I'd love you to go ahead, use these drills, give them a go, and you should ultimately be able to make some movements where the body is working much, much better. And if you can do that, you should be in a better position to play some better golf.